Human Rights Watch is an international non-government organization that monitors states and individuals involved in violating human rights. The organization has on several occasions put Uganda on the spot of allegations of human rights abuses and unlawful detentions, especially of members of the opposition and those critical to President Museveni's 36-year rule. On Wednesday, a team from Human Rights Watch led by their executive director, Kenneth Roth, met the president at his country home in Ntungamo. Roth presented a report to the president detailing cases of human rights abuses and unlawful detention in Uganda.
We spent about an hour and a quarter with President Museveni, and we raised with him a range of problems, but principally the problem of unlawful detention and the lack of accountability for what we see as ongoing beatings, torture by security forces, and the lack of any accountability. We were deeply concerned with the way the recent elections were conducted. Clearly the president faced a serious opposition challenge through the electoral process.
Roth divulged the details of the meeting with the president this afternoon during a symposium to discuss the barriers to accountability for unlawful detentions in Uganda at the School of Law, Makerere University.
Said some positive things. He said that he was opposed to unlawful detention, he was opposed to beatings and torture. And we said, well, it's nice for you to say that, but why are you not prosecuting the senior officials who were responsible? We cited in particular Kaka, the former commander of ISO, who was basically running an extortion scheme, detaining people in so-called safe houses, beating them, torturing them, and then he was never prosecuted. He was just transferred to another comfortable police post.
A statement from State House has also quoted the president telling Human Rights Watch boss Kenneth Roth not to lecture him about human rights in Uganda.
Said, Africa's lived through colonialism, it's lived through slavery, it's lived through various exploitation by Europeans. He overthrew Idi Amin, don't talk to him about human rights. And what I worry about is that that's basically an argument that he can do whatever he wants. That because there was this terrible history in Africa, that we shouldn't really scrutinize today's leaders. And of course, that argument is a recipe for disaster.
Roth, however, told a gathering of legal experts, civil society activists and students at Makerere University that President Museveni pledged to act on proven cases of torture and human rights abuse.
And he said he would deliver this message to the various security forces and deliver it to the public. So we're going to be watching. We want to see, is he actually going to speak about this? I was satisfied by the words he articulated, but I'm not naive enough to think that the mere words are the same as action.
Makerere University Law Tony Businje Kabumba was the keynote speaker of the meeting, moderated by Professor Oroka Onyango.
Imprisonment in ungazetted places, arrests by unidentified persons, unreasonable denial of bail, and others. The public side of unlawful detention. But there's also private unlawful detention. Detention of patients in hospitals for non-payment of fees, sometimes including new mothers and their babies.
Dr. Besigye raises up to demonstrate, calling for interventions in terms of providing the basics of life for Ugandans, and he's arrested. That is unlawful. Hakuna mchezo. I don't know whether you remember that Chisanja, 2016 to 2021. In that Chisanja, the president said, this time no joking, this is Chisanja, hakuna mchezo. And we documented a number of civil and political rights violations.
However, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Makerere University, Professor Umaro Kakumba, said Ugandans should not lose sight of the past history of dictatorial regimes that led to professors at the university disappearing for good.
Given about Frank Kalimzo, who had a brutal death, after being appointed Vice-Chancellor in 1970 by the then President Obote. And like I've said, sadly, his life was taken away on the orders of the regime then, on allegations that he was working for Obote, who had now been overthrown.
Human Rights Watch boss was concerned that the security institutions invited to attend the meeting did not turn up, yet the reporter accuses security officers of perpetuating these abuses. Jingo Francis, NTV.